G'day, thanks for tuning in. I'll give it a few more seconds for some more people to join, but in today's scan I think it's going to be a bit of a mixed bag. Just scrolling through the FTX perp list, there's a lot of red, there's a lot of green. That's not always a good sign for trading, but we will discuss that throughout the video. But alright, let's start. First things first, Bitcoin dominance on the weekly chart, right? So I think I spoke about this. I think Craig did as well. Lou may have as well. But down here we've got this a bit of a level here around the $40. We've tested here, tested here, tested here. So on the 6th to the 13th, I think that was the sort of retest of this support level, and more money flowed out of the alts and into Bitcoin. So if we go back over to the Bitcoin chart, we can see it was around this time, so the start of December. That's when, we can see that reflected in this Bitcoin chart. More money flowed out of the alts into Bitcoin, and we've finally pushed up. We've created that all-time high again last night, I believe it was. Yeah, so we just nudged the $68,000 mark on these perp contracts, which is a really good sign. So Bitcoin, is pushing higher. It's looking very bullish. My only concern for Bitcoin at the moment on the daily is, I shouldn't say my only concern, there is a few concerns. We have pushed up, we've tested this area and we've pulled back. All right, so we've created that high low, which is good. We've also pushed up, tested again. This is very overextended on the daily, so it's a huge strong candle, and unless we can keep pushing up, I dare say we will see a pullback. But we're also approaching that $70,000 round number. That's like a round number is a psychological number. People may have sell orders sitting there ready to go. So if we do see some more bullish momentum, we may push up into that $70,000 mark and, pull back. So if I was looking to take long trades, it would be on these lower time frames, and I would definitely be scaling out, taking profits at 1-to-1, and just knowing when to take profits. I don't think there's anything on Bitcoin at the moment. It's a bit choppy when you go down these lower time frames. There just isn't much. If there was a level to work with, then I'd be more tempted, but there isn't really. Also, another point I was going to note was the MACD. So the MACD is very divergent compared to this previous all-time high to the most recent, very divergent. We go to the daily, it's the same thing. So all-time high here, we're nowhere near it on the MACD. So that would be a contributing factor into why I wouldn't take a trade. I think it's just, you should just be very cautious if you are going long on Bitcoin. I'm still super bullish, don't get me wrong. But there are a few factors that I would take into account if going long on Bitcoin. Let's have a look at the perp list. So 1 inch on the daily, love this chart. It's looking really good. Unfortunately, there isn't really a level through here for this pullback, but especially the 2 days, we have had a nice run up. We've pulled back, we've sort of tapered off that pullback. We do have a nice bullish candle there a few days ago. I know a lot of our members did take that trade. It's still sitting there. It just looks like it's ready to rocket on. There are a few trading opportunities down lower. If you are in the community, you'd know about them. But it's sort of a bit of a waiting game on 1 inch. It's like, it just looks primed, ready to go. It's just, being slow. AVE is looking very sad and sideways. There's not much to say about AVE. ADA was the same thing. It's sort of more or less sideways over the daily. On the daily chart, we are seeing some higher lows come in, which is a good sign. But it's sort of much the same as Bitcoin. It sort of had a really strong move up, hit that $2.14 mark and then pulled back. It's doing the same. It looks like it is rejecting that level again, so I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see another pullback before we move higher. Whether we do pull back, test that level again, and then move lower, and who knows, but that's definitely a level that I would be watching, and it would probably keep me out of a trade on these lower time frames unless I was pretty confident I was going to get 1-to-1 before that level. Hey Jenny, how you doing? Dan, Jake, thanks for joining. All right, so if you can see the chat box, we are at the moment, Bybit has actually reached out to TRADERCOBB. They've seen what we do. They love the education, love what we do with the community and trading wise, and they've agreed to help out our members by offering, we provide them with free education. It's 4 live webinars, each is about 2 hours long. Including the crypto cradle strategy, the strategy that we probably use the most. So you get all 4 webinars, including the crypto cradle strategy. Bybit, in exchange for that, Bybit is offering our members discounted trading fees, which is really good. Bybit's a fantastic exchange. They're always one of the leaders to list new coins. Discounted trading fees. All you've got to do is click the link in the chat box. I believe the link is below this video as well. Fill out your details to register, and then you'll get some emails from myself just with a few more points on what you need to do to finalize your registration. The first webinar kicks off this Monday at 7 p.m. Australian time. So if you haven't done the courses, look, if you've done the courses, why not just sign up, get some more free education. Lou will be presenting. If Lou can't make it, it will be Craig. It's a very interactive way of learning. So if just sitting in front of a computer watching videos isn't your style, if you're more of an interactive learner, then this is a perfect opportunity for you to learn how to trade and get the crypto cradle strategy completely free. So yeah, if you like, click the link below, register, completely free. Who doesn't like free stuff? All right, back to Adventure Gold. Let's have a look. There isn't much to say on the daily. Very sad. Alchemix was one I was definitely watching. It did pull back, gave us that nice cradle, that nice bullish candle there in the zone. It was good to go. You'd probably hit 1-to-1 if you did take that. I believe you would. It is still looking very good. A concern of mine would be that the lower high, sorry. So there probably isn't much trading wise there. It would be this high time frames for me. Probably the daily or the two day. Do have a bit of a level here. It's not the best level, but it's something to consider. Elrond daily. Algorand, sorry. Why am I saying Elrond? Algorand daily. We've got a very strong level there at the 2.1. A reasonably round number as well. Test, 3 test on the daily, saying that it is a very strong resistance level. So what I'd like to see here is a nice pullback, possibly a retest with a tighter pullback. Failing that, a breakthrough and a nice bullish candle sitting on that level. I'd be all over that. I'd be very, very happy to take that trade. It's just not there at the moment. Alice is looking not that great on the daily. Let's skip that. Alpha, another one just testing that resistance there. Yeah, it's very messy. The lower you go on these time frames, it just gets worse. So it's no point going down. Alt perp, another one that was just testing that daily level. It's it has broken through. I was waiting for a pullback onto that level. Didn't get it, unfortunately. So the plan of attack for alt perp is to focus on these lower time frames, look for that nice cyclicity, look for levels, and look for those flawless trading opportunities. It does look like alt perp 30-minute. It is looking pretty good. We'll throw it in the list. I do already have a list that we can cover at the end of the video. Ample fourth, test. It just keeps rejecting that level, so there's nothing there for me at the moment. Arweave has had a really nice strong move up, and now it's just floating. It's more or less sideways. You know, we've got, you know, some people out there would probably call that a flag or a pennant or something. To me, it's just a strong move up with a higher high, higher low, lower high, higher low. You know, textbook sideways price action. So there's nothing there for me. ASD was looking good. It was trending nice. It's just did get that nice candle sitting right there on the daily. I'm not sure if anyone took that. I didn't take it. I wasn't around for it. But if it did present, I'd take that any day of the week. But there's nothing there. Atlas is grinding higher. So when they are grinding like this, they're not really trending, but you know, it is moving higher on the daily. We go down these lower time frames. We look for that cyclicity, look for those trends. It's probably the 4 and the 8 hour for me. They're probably the better looking trends. It is ruined when we go down these time frames, so it's the mid time frames. There's just nothing there at the moment. Atom, sideways. Audio was another one I was watching. It's looking good on the daily, but you go down these time frames, there is a level that I was watching. I think it was the 1 hour. You know, we've had a test. We've had 3 tests. If we can get a breakthrough of that level, 2.7, you know, a semi-round number. If we can get a breakthrough of that, then it would look very bullish to move a lot higher. I'm just seeing where it is in regards to all-time high. So, you know, it does have a lot of room to move. So yeah, that's why it's in the list. I am watching that level. The AVAX was looking good on the daily. It is moving. It's just the cyclicity is sort of coming in on these 12, the 8, possibly the 4. It isn't in my list at the moment. It's still a few hours away before something sets up. The trend is there. I just think there's better trends out there. Axie, the absolute rocket, it's not really providing any trading opportunities. It is pretty high at the moment, which is it's a good sign. I'd still take a long trade on Axie, definitely. It's just not really presenting anything on any of these time frames. Badger, nothing really to say on Badger. It's a mess on the daily. Bull perp was trending nicely on the daily, right? So we go down. I think the 12 doesn't look too bad. We've got the higher highs, higher lows. Sort of did present a trade there. I'm not sure if anyone took that. I definitely didn't take that, but you'd probably have got 1-to-1. It's just sort of sideways now, so not much more to say about that. Band perp it is moving. It's just no good trend. It's probably these lower time frames, but it does look a bit thin. So yeah, it's a skip from me. Bow perp doing absolutely nothing. Bat had a really nice run yesterday. It looks like it is taking off again today. As tempting as it is to just jump on board because it is moving, we don't do that. We wait for really nice entries. We wait for pullbacks, good entry positions, and good stop loss positions to manage that risk. If you don't do that, you're pretty much gambling, and we're not gamblers. So Bat is, look, the 30 isn't too bad. The 15, no, it's definitely the 30. Look, the 30 and the 1 hour, they're there. We're just waiting for bullbacks. Now, Bitcoin Cash is having another good run. Do we have any resistance up ahead? Not really. It's these lower time frames, definitely. We're just looking for those trends. It's a bit of a trend there on the 15. A nice pullback on the 15. Yeah, I'd definitely consider that. I think the 30 isn't looking too bad. It's, it's not the best, but I'll throw that in the list just to consider, and we can cull the list at the end and really focus on the better trends, and we can use other tools and indicators to back up those trades. Binance, it's having a really good run on the daily. I think, is that all-time highs? Possibly all-time, oh, it's approaching all-time highs. It's the 4 hour, so we did have a trend, we pulled back. The 4 hour looks good. Lower time frames, not really. I think the 15 and the 30 weren't looking too bad. It's sort of ruined now, but yeah, it's still in the list for that 4 hour trend. Bancor, I was really watching that level. I was really hoping for a pullback to that level, but we just didn't really get it on the time frame that I wanted. It's pushed on higher, and now we're just waiting for that trend to come back, but it's a mess. The lower you go, the messier it gets. BSV, not much to say about that. BTT, again, not much to say about that. C98, this is a pretty new perp contract for FTX. I've got a range through here that's seems like it's resisting its try to push up through there, so any long trades before that level I won't take. I'd like to see a nice daily candle close above that before I'd consider a long trade. Cake, again, not much to say about that. Cello, very sideways. Celsius is a bit messy. Now Chromia daily, obviously a really nice strong move. It's the 12 hour. If we got a nice bullish candle in there, I'd consider it. 8 hour. Look, the 8 hour, it's not too bad, but it's probably the 12 on the daily now. To be honest, I'll probably take that out of the list. There is better trends out there. Chili's looking very miserable on the daily. Clover, never heard of this one. Right, comp. So daily is moving. Are there any levels? I'm just looking for levels, looking for sort of trends on these lower time frames. There isn't anything, so we'll skip that. Convergence. Just reading this chat. Yep, I'll have a look at SXP at the ends. So SXP seems like a hot one. I'll definitely check that out at the end. Convergence is looking good on the daily. It's just stretching its legs. A nice pullback on this sort of 1 hour, 2 hour time frame. It's just a few hours away, but it is in the list because of that. Crypto.com had an absolute tear over the last few days. I'm not sure why. They are advertising absolutely everywhere, and there was a few big fights on the weekend, especially with UFC. They're advertising everywhere on UFC, so that may have caused sort of a bit of a spike in the Crypto.com token. I'm not sure. Maybe they release some news, but do we really care about the news? Not really. We just focus on technical analysis and these charts, and this is where we look for entries. So it is, so it's the 8 hours, not too bad. The 4 hour, no, not the 4, the 8, it's definitely the 8. What does the 16 look like? The 16's there. Look, it's not too bad. I'll put it in the list as a reference point. It's just, yeah, it's a few hours away. It will come out in a later scan. CRV is the ETC will pump. Why will ETC pump? Do you have any reasoning behind that? SXP, yeah. All right, so we'll get down to SXP. It seems like a pretty hot one at the moment. We'll check it out. Dash, look, I do have a resistance level there on Dash. If we can get a nice daily close above that, that would be fantastic. It'd be a really good sign to look for these lower time frames trends. There's nothing there at the moment, so Dash is, yeah, definitely one to keep an eye on. It has broken through a nice pullback to that level. I'd be all over that. Failing that, lower time frames, pullbacks, levels, all that good stuff. Dawn is doing nothing. DeFi was a level I was watching. It's pushing higher on the daily. It's these lower time frame with 4 hour, I'd say, test, pullback, a retest or a breakthrough. Definitely one to keep an eye on. Dents. It's not looking too bad, but yeah, there's nothing there on these lowers. Looks like we're going to have a big list at the end of this video. All right, Dodo is created that lower high. Doge, what are you doing? Is it going to stretch out, give us some trading opportunities? Probably not. Do we have any levels? Not really. We can skip that. Dot. Looks like Dot is hanging around that all-time high level. It's probably, look, it hasn't had a great pullback after hitting that all-time high, which is a really good sign. So I'll definitely be open to taking a long trade on this if it did present, and it doesn't look like it's going to, so it will stay out of the list. Dragon still has a lot of room to move, but what are you doing? There's a bit of a level there. It's just got a bit messy, sort of ruined that trading opportunity by this spike down. So at the moment it may be trending on this 30, bit of a 30-minute trend there. It's probably an opportunity there. What's the 1 hour look like? Not too bad. Definitely one to keep an eye on, I'd say. It needs to move a bit higher and get that pullback again, but yeah, Dragon doesn't look too bad. I'll put it in the list. Eden, boring. Elrond, finally Elrond. All right, level, pullback into that level. That's what I'm waiting for. It's the daily chart, possibly the 12-hour chart. Okay, not the 12-hour chart, the 2-day and daily. Pullback, bullish candle on that level. I'd be all over it. Engine, slowly grinding higher, but what are you doing? Give us some trading opportunities. It's just very wicky, very messy. I'm steering clear of that. EOS is more or less sideways on the daily, which isn't a good sign, but you know, we do have a lot of green candles on this 8-hour. Ooh. Unfortunately, the trend isn't the greatest on these lower time frames, so for that reason I'm skipping. ETC, is this what you're talking about? ETC. Dean, yes, Dash is a really good project, I believe. I'm very bullish on Dash. Doge belongs to the Doge belongs in the grave, and Shibu under Doge. My mate is now a millionaire because of Shibu. It's frustrating, isn't it? Unfortunately, in the crypto space, people do make a lot of money off crappy coins. I do believe Shibu is sort of stepping out and taking on, you know, different projects, and they're becoming more like an actual cryptocurrency. But based on the foundations that it was created and the amount of money that, you know, the founders and stuff made off Shibu, off being a dog coin, I would never invest in it. It's just against what I think. So ETCs, you think ETC will pump? It does look good on the daily. It's a little bit wicky here, which is a little bit of a concern, but not too much. It just shows that there's a lot of sellers sitting here pushing that price back down. To be honest with you, if we could get, I know it's not a perfect level, if we could get a nice close on, say, the 8-hour, possibly the 12-hour, if we could close above that, that would be a really good sign. It looks like it probably will close above that. What do we have? Oh, we got 5 hours left on the 8 hour. Even yeah, 4 hour close would be good. Do we have any trading opportunities though? Bit of a trend on this 5 minute if you're open to these lower time frames. 15 agrees. Look, I'll throw it in the list just because it is moving and it may present some trading opportunities later. ETH, what a champion, all-time high yesterday. What are my concerns about ETH? MACD looks good. Thumbs up for that. There was a nice trade there a couple of days ago. I know a lot of people did jump on that, and well done, because you'd be sitting at risk-free right now. My only concern, what are we looking at here? There's not really a great trend on these lower time frames. So I think my concern from here on in, mind you, I'm very bullish ETH. I would definitely take a long trade here, but you know, we are creeping up to that $5,000 round number. I dare say there'd be a lot of sell orders sitting there. Again, I'm not 100% sure, but you know, if I was super long ETH, that's probably where I'd be taking profits. But yeah, nothing much more to say about ETH. Exchange perp, we've finally got to close above that daily resistance. Really good sign. That opens me up for taking long trades and hopefully letting them ride to all-time highs. Fingers crossed. But yeah, there's not much there at the moment. Let's have a look at this 15, the 30, and nothing. Feeder perp daily. Doesn't look too bad. What's the 2 day look like? Oh, a deeper pullback on the 2 would be very juicy, but we're not getting that. Do we have anything on these lowers? Not really, so it's a bit of a skip for me. File perp, very sideways. Flamingo. We did get a close above that level, that's a good sign. Do we have any trend? Nope. Flow, doing nothing as always. Look at that, look how sideways that is. What is that range? Like a 3% range. Absolutely crazy if you're trading that. Probably looks good on these lower time frames. This is where people get caught out, right? So a trend might form, you'd be like, oh yes, brilliant, I'll jump on that. But you don't scroll out and have a look at the daily and get an overall perspective. It's sideways. It's been sideways for a week. So why would you take a trade on that? Phantom is another one. I was watching this level here. It sort of busted through that level. It's ruined that trading setup, but now it's these mid time frames. I can delete that. Mid time frames pullback, one to keep an eye on. That's why it's in the list. ETC pump dollars 100. Very very bullish on ETC by the sounds of it. FTT. I think big things about FTT. If Binance is creeping up to that all-time high, I think FTT will follow closely. But there's no. Do we have a trend? Nothing on the daily, unfortunately. We sort of need to break through this 60, 67, $68 mark. And there's nothing lower, unfortunately, so we'll skip that. GRT is not looking too bad. I think this is very thin though. Yeah, there's nothing there. HBAR, nothing. HNT, huge run. Two-hour pullback, the trend's not the greatest, so we will skip that. Holy daily's not looking too bad. There's no levels, there's no real trend. It's sort of creating that lower high. Bit of a concern on these higher time frames, so I'd skip that. Hot is a mess, a hot mess. HT is daily. Is looking very sad and sideways. created that lower high. Internet computer is just it's hanging around that resistance level. If we could get a nice cradle off that resistance level, that would be good, but it doesn't look like we're going to, so we can skip that. That looks messy. IOTA sideways, sideways. Kinperp. Now Kinperp, yes, it is in the list. I was hoping for a pullback. Now if this candle closes bullish above that level, probably above this level where these two wicks are, I'd definitely consider that. That would give us a good stop position. And yeah, it does look bullish. That's why it's in the list. KNC doesn't look that great. KSM, another one that's moving on the daily. Trending. Oh, look, the trend's there on the 4. Is it 2 there? It's not really the 2, but I like how it sort of lost momentum, pulling back. It sort of curved out. That's a good sign for more buyers to come in and push the price higher. Bit of a concern that the MACD is divergent, but it is in the list for that reason. Leo sideways. Now Lena has had a good run. It has closed above that level. That's good. Now it's these mid to lower time frames. We're looking for, if we had a deeper pullback, that would be good. Failing that, it's these lower time frames looking for for trends. Link. Now Link is a good project. I am very bullish on Link, but there's no trading opportunities due to this level. For me personally, if you don't, if you trade differently to me, go for it. There's probably trading opportunities there on the lower time frames, but it's just nothing there for me. Loopring had a huge run, and for that reason, we're going to focus on these lower time frames. Tell you what, there's a bit of cyclicity there coming in. There's probably a trade or two there this morning for anyone that did get on that. There's nothing there at the moment though. Litecoin finally is waking up and following suit of the bigger dogs. Do we have anything lower? It hit that resistance level on the nose and rejected, but finally we've pushed through. That's a really good, strong, solid sign for Litecoin. Now we're just waiting for pullbacks. I'd be more tempted to take a trade on this, probably the 1 hour, the 2 hour, not so much the lowers. But if they did present, if the cyclicity did come back in on these lower time frames, yeah, I'd definitely consider taking a trade. Luna. We do have a level there. We've sort of played around that level. There's not really any trading opportunities there at the moment, unless we do have a bit of cyclicity in these time. We do. It's probably the 1 or the 2 hour. That's why it's in the list. Yeah, that's not looking too bad. Mana is doing nothing. Sideways, sideways. MC Dex Perp is looking gross. Media, not much to say about that. Mid cap. Now I did have, we tested this level a few times. We've finally broken through. Now we're testing this level. So there was no real trading opportunities there. A close above that level, that sort of opens the door to long trades. It's just a waiting game on that. Maker looks messy. Mango. Ooh. Oh, if that was a better level, tell you what, a series of higher lows pushing up into a level, one to consider, but the level is messy. So for that reason, I'll skip. Meta, got a level there. It's just rejected, rejected, rejected. It just keeps rejecting it. So yeah, nothing there. Sideways. MBDA on the daily. I've never heard of this coin, but it was looking really good. We tested this level a few times. We just didn't get the trade set up that we wanted. So now it's just focusing on these lower time frames for that cyclicity. Doesn't look like there's much there. This one's the same. Neo stretching its legs, but what do we have? So these lower time frames, no real cyclicity coming in, which is very unfortunate. So it's a skip. OKB. I'm not stoked about it on the daily, to be honest. A deeper pullback on these higher time frames I'd be very open to. It looks like it will do that. It's sort of struggling a bit. So yeah, a pullback on that is what we're waiting for. OMG daily. Not the best looking chart. One perp. Doesn't look like it's doing much either. Ooh. High, 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 low, higher, high. A pullback on the... no, it's definitely the 4. What's the 8 look like? 8's there. So yeah, the 4 and the 8 hours on one perp. It's going to be a few hours away though. We need it to push a little bit higher and a pullback. Ontology looks messy. Sideways. Oxy never does anything. Pax is gold. Perp. Looks like it is creating those higher lows and slowly moving higher, which is a good sign. But do we have that cyclicity on these lowers? Not really. Pretty perp sideways. Look at that. Sideways. Very sideways. Unfortunately, lately, these coins that have been moving sideways, they don't really open up trading opportunities. They just move sideways and then pop. They just pop up, do a 60% day or something, and unless you hold them as long-term holds, you'd be cheering. But trading-wise, there's just hasn't really been any opportunities, unfortunately. Q-term sideways. Ramp sideways as well. Ray perp messy. Reef, I don't like it. Sound like Pauline Hanson. Rook perp. Again, not much to say about that. RSR, I've never traded this. Does look pretty low. What do we have though? Yeah, not much. Now, Rune was in the list. It was the daily, possibly the 2-day, I'd say. Yeah, I was watching this level. A nice bullish candle on that level. You know, still a couple of days away, I'd say. But, yeah, it's in the list. It's just one to keep an eye on. Sand perp, another one that's had an absolute tear the last few days. But now it looks like it's just going through a pullback. So, nothing really there for us. Coin, nothing. Seco. Sort of ruined by that wick, isn't it? Yeah, nothing there. Oh, what's this coin? Shiba. Nothing to say about Shiba. Shit perp. We do have a level. It has busted through. That's a good sign. Where is it on the daily? Not a bad position on the daily, so it's these lower time frames we're looking for. Yeah, it's just messy. Hard to trade a very messy chart. Now, what are we looking at? SXP. SLP is nothing there. Very sideways. Sol perp. It's trending. Definitely trending. Not the best looking trend, but it's there. 8 hour, 12 hour. It's a bit of a concern that we've got a high and then another high. It hasn't really pushed much higher, so we do need it to push on a bit further and give us that cleaner, healthier pullback. Spell. No, SRM sideways. Siren Labs, what do we got? Very wiki. I don't like it. Step. STM. Storage 2-day doesn't look too bad. The daily isn't too bad either. Just trying to think, like, why wouldn't I put that in the list? Why, like, what would keep me out of this trade? Look, I'm gonna have to throw it in the list. It doesn't look too bad. STX, is this the one? SXP, sorry. Oh, there we go. STX, not much to say about that. Sushi, SXP, here we go. The one that everyone's been talking about. What is the go with SXP? Now I'm just looking for levels here. So that's 2.6. So if I move that, that's probably a better level. Test, big test it again. That is something to consider. The trend is coming on this 30, the 15 is probably there as well. I'll throw it in the list because it is trending on the 15 and the 30. And it does look like you'd hit your targets before that resistance. It does get a bit messy up ahead, so yeah, if I was to take a trade, that's definitely something I'd consider taking profits before that level. Like, it has tested a few times. It's there. We'll put it in the list. Theta, not much to say about that. TLM, nothing. Tomo, nothing. True, sideways. Tron. Stretching its legs. We've got a bit of cyclicity there. That's good. What's the 15 look like? Messy, 30, 1 hour. The 1 hour is there as well, but it's the 30 that would be the chart to trade off. In the list, just because that trend is there. Do we have any resistance up ahead? Doesn't look like it on the 4. Not really on the daily either. So yeah, Tron looking good on those lower time frames. Messy, not much to say about that. Sideways, Uniswap sideways. Now VeChain was looking good on the daily. I think it's these lower time frames where that cyclicity did come in. Probably not the 30. The 1 hour is not the best looking chart. Yeah, look, I'm going to take it out. I think there's better trends out there. Waves doing nothing. Resistance. NEM, what's the daily doesn't, oh, no, the daily's wrecked. Stellar Lumens sideways. XRP, ooh. It is looking good on the daily. A pullback on the 12 hour would be fantastic. Yeah, definitely not the 8. Probably. Yeah, so it would be the 12 and the daily. again, it's because it's those higher time frames, it's a waiting game, so we can stay out, pick that up later. Messy, sideways, Zcash, very sideways. Zilperp, sideways. ZRX, stretching out. Do we have any cyclicity? Oh, Jesus. Some big green candles. It's getting a bit messy here on these lowers. But yeah, we can skip that. Right, back to the top. Here's our list. Definitely a few to keep an eye on. I'm not saying there is any trading opportunities right now. I think they're just the better looking trends out there on multiple time frames. Definitely ones to keep an eye on. What was my favorites? I don't know. I'd have to go through again. But yeah, if you are following along, that's the list that I'll be keeping an eye on for this afternoon and probably over the coming days. It's a mixed bag of higher time frames, lower time frames. I just think it's waiting for pullbacks and just keeping an eye on those levels as well. Is there anything else you'd like me to go through? Let's have a look. ICP, good long-term hold maybe. Yeah, possibly. I don't know the project. It's just got a funny name. FTM 300X. Did you get a 300X on FTM, or do you think it's going to 300X from where it is? I'm very interested to hear that, because if you got a 300X, well done. That's awesome. Yeah, so like I said at the start of the video, we've got a free course thanks to Bybit. If you haven't done the courses, it's the Cradle strategy, the one that we probably use the most. Completely free. Sign up with the registration link below. Fill in your details. We will enroll you in the course. I'll send you some emails with some other steps to take to finalize your enrollment. But yeah, the first webinar kicks off this Monday at 7 p.m. Australian time. If you can't join the live, then it's all recorded. You can watch it at any time. You'll have full access to that. So yeah, if you haven't done the courses, why not do it for free? It's a perfect opportunity. Thanks for joining, and I'll chat to you soon. See you guys.